Today we're going to be analyzing Mike Licona's arguments for both miracles and the resurrection.
Okay, they honestly believe that he rose from the dead and had appeared to them. We find this in early sources, eyewitness sources, or those rooted in eyewitness testimony. So you've got Paul, and Paul talks about the apostles as well. So Paul claims to be an eyewitness. He knows.
What? No, Paul never claimed to be an eyewitness, and more importantly, he never claimed to have met any eyewitnesses. He only met apostles and general Christians. So last time, we exposed a major flaw in how Mike Licona investigated the resurrection of Jesus. For one thing, he thinks that he's a historian. He's not. He's a New Testament scholar, which is relevant to the question at hand, but that does not make him a historian. He thinks he came to his conclusion as objective as he could by admitting his biases up front. But he is still not objective when he takes a look at the evidence for the resurrection. One primary example of this is that he thinks that we can prove miracles happened in history. And now that's where we are picking up today.
I want to talk about miracles and that sort of thing too. So maybe we can get into kind of Hume's kind of objections or something along those lines. You'll probably find some atheists that say the most probable explanation for any event has to be a natural explanation. And the reason why is because all of the documented events we have or something like that, or the vast majority of things we have, we attribute a natural explanation to. So what do you say to somebody that has that kind of objection in mind?
Well, I want them to define again how do they determine something is probable. Okay, how do they assess probability here?
No, not a vast majority of them, all of them. Every miraculous thing that has seemed to have happened in history has always had a natural explanation behind it. There have been no verified suspensions of the natural order of reality. They have to argue against uniformitarianism because otherwise there just simply is no evidence that supports their conclusions. This is the exact same thing that creationists do. Now, he wants to know how we assess this probability. We assess the probability of something happening in a specific way by taking the number of times this specific thing has happened in history and compared it with how many times it's happened in that specific way. Like the likelihood of Caesar crossing the Rubicon. This probability would be fairly high because all you have is a guy crossing a river in a boat or some other kind of natural way. That has happened all throughout history, and so we don't need any kind of spectacular explanation for it. It just is something that happens.
When you say the overwhelming number of events would have natural causes, okay, well, that would rule out any unique event, then would seem to be the least probable explanation, right? Like the universe coming into existence out of nothing. That's a unique event. And so you would have to discredit it. You would have to throw out the science, the very strong science, that suggests it came into being out of nothing. You just throw it out. Why?
Nope. That was a natural event that happened with natural causes to explain it. We have no reason to think that was a magical event. Our current best explanation comes from quantum scalar fields and how they release an incredibly large amount of energy when they fluctuate from a false vacuum state to a true vacuum state. This is a natural explanation and in fact does not suspend the natural order of reality in order for it to happen. The fact that all events in the past have natural causes behind them would definitely put the probability of a miracle so incredibly low that it becomes negligible. But that incredibly low probability can be overcome by good evidence. This also exposes how the entire case for the resurrection hinges on you suspending your better judgment and allowing unverified claims of the suspension of reality for their case to even make sense. If we allow this suspension of reality, then what's to prevent us from allowing all the other supposed suspensions of reality with equal probability? Ah, yes, it's not their God that did it, therefore it couldn't have happened.
Because you say, well, the majority of events that we see have natural causes, or they are caused to exist by something. So to say the universe was uncaused couldn't have happened that way. But yet that's what the science points to. If you want to talk about why is it the least probable explanation? Is it because these things like a resurrection, it doesn't happen by natural causes? Okay, well, if we're talking about an event that happened by natural causes, it wouldn't be a miracle, right?
Sure.
And if God exists and wanted to raise Jesus, well, then the resurrection becomes the most probable explanation, right?
No, that is not the most probable explanation. Again, you have failed to prove that God, more specifically your God, even exists. What you have to do is presuppose that your specific version of God exists for your arguments to even make any kind of sense. Nobody says that the universe is uncaused. Well, except for people that don't understand what the scientific theory of the Big Bang actually is. Because the scientific theory doesn't actually say that the Big Bang was uncaused. The only difference between what Mike Licona thinks caused the universe and what the science actually says caused the universe is that he has to invent some kind of cosmic entity in order to start the universe. That kind of ad hoc explanation exposes the leap in logic that religiously minded people have to make. And I do agree with Licona that resurrections, like Jesus, do not happen by natural causes. But until you can prove that not everything happens by natural causes, it will still continue to be the least likely explanation. Again, this is the problem with New Testament studies. They have to resort to ad hoc assertions with no supporting evidence. They just get to claim that they have supporting evidence. You see, Licona would explain to you that we've already proven that his particular version of God exists, even though we don't accept that. And we don't accept it because his evidence doesn't support his conclusion. What you have to do is you have to jump to the conclusion or make that leap in logic in order to make those connections.